Well, hello, Kansas City, Carlos Vides. And today I have a very special guest, a little bit a different setup. And the reason why I'm doing this today is because I have somebody that I feel that I care. I feel as somebody who is very close to us, the community. And I want to make sure that you pay very close attention to what he has to say for us today. And also, I'm going to be asking questions about what is he here for. But I tell you what is he here for. He's running for Kansas City, Jackson County legislator, District 1, one of the biggest districts in the metro. So we want to make sure that we pay close attention to what he has to say and how he can become part of your business and the family and everyday decisions in Kansas City. So for that reason, we have Mr. Manny Abarca with us today, and he's going to explain to us a little bit about what is his job that he's running for. Take us through.
Yes.
Mr. Abarca,
well, thank you for having me, Carlos. It's always a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, I am Manny Abarca. I'm running to be your next Jackson County legislator from District 1. The district is huge, as you talked about.
And that's, I'm looking at you and I'm like, are you ready?
Yeah. Hey, I got tan lines to show that I've been out in the streets.
All right.
Yep. So it is south of the river. It runs west of Troost to State Line, and it goes all the way down to 435 west of Troost. And then after that, it's west of Holmes to Blue Ridge. So it's really the entire spread of the city.
Now, Kansas City legislator, what is that exactly? For those of you up there that do not know exactly what that does, let's pay attention to this.
Yeah, so Jackson County is a government body. They have a legislative body, which is the legislature itself. It is different than the City Council of Kansas City, Missouri, because it covers the entire county. So 700,000+ people in the county. We will represent about 115 within my one district. So our main job is to collect and distribute your taxes. So property taxes, personal property taxes, commercial business taxes, all of those dollars are collected and redistributed from the county.
So let's say I'm in Grandview,
right?
But I'm in the right in the border, which is Blue Ridge Boulevard and 71 South.
Yep.
In one side is Grandview, the next side is Kansas City.
But you're both in Jackson County. So yes. Yeah. So you're just outside of the first district, but if you travel a little further west down Blue Ridge Boulevard, past Holmes, you're in the first district. Yes. A county legislator has the ability to communicate with you on many different areas. I know some legislators in the past have helped you connect the dots, right? When you say I have a problem with filing your business license, right? Maybe that's at the city. Well, the county legislator will call over the city councilman or woman and say, hey, you need to talk to Carlos about this, and that just unlocks a door for you, right? Where you normally navigate through a bureaucratic process, the legislators are representative on your behalf who you should be able to call at any point to help you, whether that's the state, the city, the county, the federal government, whatever that is. But the main goal is to collect and distribute your taxes fairly.
Well, and so does that also means the roads getting fixed, the school districts, and all those type of things?
To some degree. So the county has less, when you think about fixing roads and potholes, right? That's the city or the state. Those are the two entities that really do those things. But the county collects those dollars and redistributes them out, right? You talked about the school board, or school district, of which I'm on the school board and have been for the last 3 years. The county collects those property taxes and divvies them up to the different school districts. And that's how they receive their money. For Kansas City Public Schools, it's around 75% of our budget where we get those dollars. So it's critically important to make sure that the county does a good job collecting the taxes so that the school district can count on the money that they've been budgeting for.
And just do it accordingly.
Do it fairly, do it equitably, and do it in a way that is transparent so that you know why you're being taxed, what you're being taxed.
Can there be a bureaucracy and dirty hands in that money?
So it's really about the collection, which is the challenge. And I think folks on the west side have seen some of the largest hits and changes, similar to here in the Northeast. So I live in the Northeast, have for the last 10 years, but I've lived across this entire district. So it's a great opportunity for me to bring back my Martin City roots when I went to middle school there, from the Grandview School District, which is where Martin City's at, my proud graduate self. But I'm also was in Hickman Mill School District for a while, right? And there's a little bit of sliver there that I'm at least adjacent to. And so the reality is we need to make sure we're sending people there to be truly representative and that know what they're doing and have the experience to do the job.
Fantastic. You look very young.
Yes.
You look very young. So how have you acquired all the experience?
Yeah, so I just finished 8 years with Congressman Cleaver's office, which I had the tremendous pleasure and opportunity to learn from Congressman Cleaver, one of the city's longest serving elected officials, whether that's from city council to mayor to now congressman, and learned a tremendous amount from him, right? Before that, I was in college. I was in colleges working on sustainability efforts and environmental work. I have a master's degree, I have a bachelor's degree, and I'm working on a doctorate degree now. So when it comes to experience, I've got that. I've been a neighborhood president after serving my neighborhood association for the last 10 years since I've lived here. I've served on many philanthropic boards throughout the community. So I've got a varied level of experience in a very short time frame, but I've been committed to being intentional about where I put my time.
That's fantastic. So you've been, when you say intentional, that means you have gone around
Sure.
putting yourself in the right places to learn about what is needed in each area of the community.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the school board, for example, right?
Yeah.
So I served on the Guadalupe Center School Board, charter school board for 2.5 years. Well, that opened up a door for then John Fierro, who was on the Kansas City, Missouri School Board, to say, hey, I'm leaving, you should come over here. Well, I went from 1,400 students to 14,000 students then. I stepped up and volunteered to be the treasurer on the executive board. I didn't have the experience, but I knew the people behind me would support me, and I learned how to do it well. And now I've been able to unlock transparency for kids, for families who are concerned about where do my tax dollars go with Kansas City Public Schools. We've got this year alone $750,000 towards musical instruments in our schools. So we've got brand new drum lines coming in. We've got band programs coming that have never happened. But because I've seen where the dollars were and I pushed people to spend those dollars because they're there, that's what they're there for, we've been able to do some pretty awesome things with the school district.
That is life-changing for a kid.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Because, you know, there's so many kids up there that they have the passion for music and playing instruments, but they don't have the funds to buy their own.
That's right.
But then you were able to find that ability, if you find that money and have the ability
find it in the budget
and be able to put it in it.
That's right.
So is that something that you're planning on bringing into the Jackson County?
Yeah, those skill sets I think are critically important, right? Because the Kansas City public school system is a taxing jurisdiction. I see where the county's dollars go and how they're spent. The problem is nobody tells the best story as to you as a property owner pay property taxes. Your money is going towards this. This is what you get for those dollars you're investing for the future of our kids. Now imagine if you were a senior on a fixed income in the West Side, you don't have kids, your kids are grown up maybe, and you don't have any kids in the Kansas City public school system. You may feel a little different about investing in Kansas City public schools. But if I say we're building a community by your investment, that makes it a little different. If I show you in Garcia on the west side alone, we're looking at maybe a new playground, maybe an expansion for pre-K. We're going to do some remodel updates on the outside. You start to understand my tax dollars that I'm paying go towards that school over there, and you make that connection. But that's what we need to do in a better way, both at the county and the school district.
Fantastic. Now, I want to make sure that people don't label you the Hispanic Jackson County guy.
Sure.
How would that look for everybody else?
Yeah, no, for everyone else, I think that's where my experience comes in. As I've talked about this conversation at doors across the district, people have asked about the schools. They've asked about my experience. They've asked about my family, my community, neighborhood. I serve on the historic Kansas City Foundation, where our focus is to save historic buildings. And I've served on there for 6 years. And so I have this level of experience and engagement in different pockets of the community that I can talk about to those folks who may not necessarily go, oh, you're Latino, that's great, and move on. Well, I'm also a preservationist. I'm also engaged in the philanthropy. I served on the Goodwill board for 8 years, but the furthest term you can have on the Goodwill board. My focus was to bring in those city services in the inner city. At the time, Goodwill did not have any services in Kansas City, Missouri. They focused on the suburbs. And I was one of the ones that brought in a new CEO and brought that focus to Kansas City. So there are different levels and skill sets that I bring to the table that I'm excited to share with folks.
Fantastic. Let's say my brother. I'm thinking my brother when I'm hearing you.
Yeah.
My brother owns a business right there on Blue Ridge Boulevard. Right on the border of Grandview and Kansas City.
Yep.
How would an individual like that will benefit
Sure. I think the tax component is the biggest way, right? The tax and the county services, right? So because you all are at Grandview, you're a little closer to Longview Lake, right?
Yes.
You've probably gone and enjoyed Longview Lake, I'm sure. But imagine the kid growing up here in the Northeast. Do you think they even know Longview Lake exists?
You're right.
No.
No.
And so how do we bridge that gap? Because the families over here are paying for that lake. They're paying for Chicomo. They're paying for those county services, but we're not bridging that gap for everyone in the county. That's a way that he can look at, well, maybe I need to market the business in a way that captures people. I don't know what the business is, but maybe he sells life jackets. Well, tremendous opportunity if I start busting kids in from over here to over there. These kids are going to need life jackets, right? And connecting those dots. Maybe he's concerned about his commercial business. I don't know if he owns the building or not, but taxation.
No, not yet.
Well, not yet. See, there you go.
Yeah.
But taxation is a real thing. And for our commercial businesses, that's rising too, right? Is it rising equitably across all platforms? Or is it those that are larger, like the plaza, don't have to pay as much taxes as your brother who may own the small business? Why is that the case? We need to make sure we have legislators that are poking holes and going and finding those things to ensure equitability is happening across the board for all business, right?
So what you're saying is you need to have a legislator that understands the community, knows the community,
That's right.
being walking with the community,
and can listen, right? Because I think that's the important thing is your brother and you have a county legislator now. Who are they?
I don't know.
Exactly. And that's not your fault as much as it's their fault, because they need to bridge that gap as well and make sure you know that that county legislator you have access to is accessible to your community, wherever you are, whether that's the business community, the Latino community, whatever. And you have that connection, right? Where you can pick up the phone and go, hey, this is where my business is and this is what I care about and I need you to care too. And they go, nice to hear you. And it's not just a voice message.
Fantastic. Well, definitely, I think that you will do well.
Thank
and
you.
You will represent well, not only us, and I'm very proud of being Hispanic, you know, seeing you doing this, because we need to do more of this.
Representation matters.
Yes. And for those of you up there that are listening and have a chance to watch this video and share it with other people so they can get informed and understand what Manny Abarca is about. And when you hear a guy that has been in a community working for all these years, I met Manny since 2010, so I know what he means when he says all these things, because I know what he does. So I definitely endorse him. And I want you to pay very close attention. What is it that matters? You know, when he talks about taxes and being distributed equally or being distributed in the right place for the right reasons and no bureaucracy and him being available, being present for you to talk to him via phone or maybe emails, I think that makes a difference because you can ask a question and hopefully I think you will also get an answer. Are we forgetting anything else, Manny, that you want to make sure that people understand?
But let's talk about that Latino thing because that part is critically important. The county has been around for decades. I would be the third Latino ever to serve on the county since its existence, which is ridiculous, right? In terms of representation in the city right now, I'm the only Latino elected official in Kansas City, Missouri. Out of all the school boards, all the county, the city, I'm the only one. Right. And so we're, by count, I think we're more than this. 11% of the city is Latino, and we don't have a voice at all these tables. We need to make sure as Latinos that we do have a voice at those tables.
I like that. For that reason alone, we need to support Manny Abarca. And I personally will be rooting for you, Manny.
Thank you.
Yes. And I appreciate that you took your time to stop by our studio
Thanks
today.
for having me.
And share a little message and we'll send it out, see what people does with it. And hopefully they come out and support you and vote for you and elect you and trust you to get this job.
I appreciate it. I hope so too. I'll work hard to make sure it happens.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for those of you that had the time or took the time to sit down and listen to this video and to listen to this short interview. And share it with your friends and family and talk about it. Ask questions. And because right now is the right time to make a difference. And it's for us Hispanics, come out and support.
August 2nd. August 2nd is the date.
August 2nd.
August 2nd.
Put that down in your calendar. August 2nd. So that's an old day, election day.
That's a primary election day. And if you are not in Jackson County and would love to contribute, MannyAbarca.com, you can go and support me to make sure I get there too.
I like that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that in. Well, August 2nd, you heard that. Put him on your calendar. Study up. Do some research. Don't argue with anybody. When you talk to people, nonsense up there in the streets, they will tell you their version. So go out and look at the real version, the version that Manny Abarca just told us right here. He has no need to tell us things that make no sense. And I feel that you'll find a truthful individual. I'll leave you with this. Thank you very much. We'll see you on the streets.